Well, it's been an eternity, not just in terms of the time taken by this entire innings, but just so much happening. It seems as if we've had two innings of T20 cricket and not just one in the 2 hours and 2 minutes it took to complete those 20 overs. Certainly many events within that, lots of decisions, lots going to the third umpire, probably the busiest man on the field or in his room, wherever he sits. But we can all catch our breaths and relive what happened in those 20 overs. This is the state of play at the end of the halfway point. India needed big runs on the board. 2-1 down in the series, lost the toss, 185 for 8. Plenty of intent shown. Relief to see Suryakumar Yadav 57 of 31, a brilliant half century on debut after hitting his first ball in international cricket for 6. I'm going to throw one more figure at Zaheer Khan before we get this discussion started in the company of Michael Vaughan. Zaheer, 5 Indian batsmen hit their first ball for a boundary. Now, from time to time, of course, you'll get that in slam bang cricket, but it is something that sums up the intent from Team India.
Spot on. I think that's the intent which maybe Virat was talking about. Everyone got off to a flyer. But I think today's 20 overs, apart from being a very slow affair in terms of the proceedings, I think the cricket was superb. You've seen some quality bowling, you've seen some quality batting, and the contest was very even. It was interesting. It was fascinating to witness a game like that. Where both the teams will actually walk off saying that they've done their part. We've seen some amazing hitting by Surya. We've seen good intent throughout by all the batters. Rishabh's inning was fabulous. I think Shreyas, he's adapted so well in that situation. It's not easy. Usually, he's number 3, number 4, but having to take this new responsibility and new role was heartening to see. Overall, I think it was just good game of cricket apart from the slow over rate.
Yeah, we'll probably come to that in a moment if the slow over rate gives us enough time to chat. But Michael, Zaheer mentioned the bowling, the batting, good competitive 20 overs. Throw in the fielding because we've had a few issues with that in the tournament so far. Safe from Jofra Archer, the cotton ball, he dropped one earlier, and Ben Stokes can only do what Ben Stokes does.
Yeah, I mean, I thought England were pretty good. We saw the dew. It looks like it's coming down heavier tonight than in the previous 3 games. So the chase might be on for England. They bowled with that pace again into the pitch. But, Suryakumar Yadav is a wonderful player. When you walk out like Ishan Kishan did on his debut, now you've got Yadav doing exactly the same. His first ball, flicking it into the stands for 6. He is a tremendous player, against the spin, against the pace. That punch he played off the back foot through extra cover early in his innings was a joy to watch. So India have found a couple of players in the last few games, and it makes that pool of players and that final 11 that India will have to get to for the World Cup that little bit trickier. And those senior players in the side, I think India are going to have a very tricky decision to make, because when you get younger players or less experienced players coming in and playing like we've seen Ishan Kishan and we've now seen Yadav do today, those senior players, do they go out and play with a fearless way, or do they start being fearful of the fact that there's these younger players coming into the squad? So India are getting a bigger pool of players together. But I'm with Zaheer. Let's be honest, the over 8 is pathetic. We can talk third umpires and the time it's taken for the catches that they've gone upstairs. The ICC have to act. T20 cricket came in because it was a short to forward game, crash bang wallop, great entertainment. We're not sitting here for 2 hours watching 20 overs be bowled. That's absolutely ridiculous. Something has to be done.
Zaheer, you concur with that?
Well, you talk about game getting more and more professional. You're talking about players getting fitter. You're talking about access of technology and how methods are evolving. I think when you talk about all that, the basic thing is you have to then complete the overs within the given time, or take 5 or 7 minutes extra. And it's understandable, but not like half an hour extra. That's just totally not acceptable at this level.
Well, I'm sure we'll get those things sorted out. But just for the statistically minded, Suryakumar Yadav's first ball in international cricket bunted for 6 in only a way he can. Fourth player to do so. Mark Craig did it in a test match, 2 balls before a Brendan McCullum declaration. Moshele did it in a truncated T10 game against Sri Lanka, against Nuwan Kulasekara. And Sohail Tanvi did it in the World T20 final towards the end against Srishant at a time when pretty much the requirement. So, Zaheer, the difference between Surya and the other 3 was he didn't have to hit that first ball for 6, but he did.
Don't mention this to Surya, because he'll not be happy if you read out this kind of list to him. I think. So I think he'll be happy that he's got the score 50 plus. On actually technically the batting debut, you can say. He didn't get to bat in the first match which he played, but he'll be happy with that. I think if you're comparing those kind of numbers with the greats, he'll be happy to be part of that list. I'm sure when he started the innings, he wasn't really thinking about hitting that first ball to 6. It was just about going on, doing the job for the team, cementing his place, making use of the opportunity, dealing with pressure well. And he ticked all the boxes brilliantly. He looked composed. Once again, another player who's got the opportunity to play didn't look like playing his first innings at this level. So I think there is something that all the youngsters which are coming up, they seem to be prepared. They seem to be ready to take on the big challenge.
And once you make a statement like that, Michael, you briefly alluded to it. How are the seniors going to respond to it? Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, all of them didn't quite get as many as they would have liked. So it's that healthy competition that makes this a team to compete with a side like England, who have ticked so many boxes.
Yeah, I mean, it's, India just got to be careful that, you're so close to a T20 World Cup. Positions that are in concrete, i.e. Virat Kohli, he has to bat at number 3. For Virat to stroll out today, and he's only got 76 balls left by the time that he strolled out. Out of the 120, only 76 were left for Virat Kohli to create impact. And he had to go too soon. He had to dance down to Adil Rashid to try and force the issue. You want Virat Kohli strolling out there in any situation at number 3 to give himself as many balls as possible. He can get 100. In T20 cricket, he can have massive impact. He's going to win the game for India by having more balls. So I don't think they got their order right. Suryakumar Yadav is a player. I think he can bat anywhere in that top 5. He's such a wonderful gift. And I think India have really got to look closely. I know Ishan Kishan was injured for today, but they really have to look closely, particularly in this year's IPL. If those players go and do it again, and it'll be the 3rd year that they've pretty much been the highest scorers and been very consistent, they have to throw him into the T20 World Cup team, not the squad, the team, because they know how to play T20 cricket and they know how to win games of cricket in T20. I'll keep waxing lyrical about the Mumbai Indians until India listen and get them back all into the same team, because once they do that, I fear, because, they're such wonderful players that India have just missed a trick. And I know Ishan's injured today, but they have to get them in. And you get Rohit in, you get Bumrah in, you get your Jadeja back. And India will have a very, very powerful team. And also, Virat, just stay at 3. He doesn't need to shift.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the Indian batting effort. A quick one from both of you gentlemen about that slightly controversial moment, if you could call it that. The Suryakumar Yadav catch that was looked at a million times, as was Adil Rashid later on. Dawood Malan, is it about the soft signal? Is it about the camera angles? Zaheer, I'll come to you first.
Soft signal is key, and I think that's a fair call there. The umpires are there in the middle. The square leg umpire would have had a decent view at that catch, and that's why the soft signal. So once you made that soft signal, it actually becomes easier for the third umpire to judge, because these camera angles can be tricky. And in the past also we've seen some demonstrations of that, where in the grass, actually, with the angles of the camera, it seems like the ball is touching the ground, but at times it's not. Even if your fingers are below the ball, it gives you the impression that the ball is touching the ground or the grass, but the fingers are actually underneath that. So give that benefit of doubt. It makes it easier for third umpire to go for a conclusive evidence, which helps you or prevent that mishap from happening. So in today's case also, I'll back the soft signal, because the umpires are in the middle. They have the close proximity view, and you have to back them.
Also, Michael, is it maybe a situation of trying to get some kind of a catch cam maybe? Because broadcasters have concluded that the long lens, the higher angle is not ideal to see whether fingers are under the ball or not. So is that possibly technology can intervene sometime in the future?
Yeah, you'll have to ask someone more qualified than me in technology to answer that. Two things. I thought David Milan took that catch, but I'm totally with Zaheer Khan. The foreshortening of the camera and the angle. We've seen Tony Gregg many years ago do a demonstration where he had his hands on the ground and he had the ball in the palm of his hand, and the camera angle from quite high up, which they are in cricket stadiums, and the angle looked like the ball had bounced on the grass. So I do think David Milan caught that ball today. I completely understand what happened in terms of the third umpire. Once that soft signal had been given out, he had to give it out because he didn't have enough evidence to prove that he hadn't caught it. I just don't like the soft signal out in the middle for catches on the boundary. I get those soft signals around the bat when umpires are 22 yards away, and it's hard enough to get a decision right from 22 yards away, never mind 80 yards away. So I personally would get rid of the soft signal to catches on the outer boundary, because I just don't see how an umpire can be sure one way or the other that he can give it out or not out from such a distance away. So I'd be having a look at that if I was the ICC, to whether we should just clear out the soft signal. You just go upstairs to the third umpire. What can you see? Is it a catch or is it not? And let the third umpire decide on those boundary catches like we saw today.
Fair call on that. Just to sum things up, the innings has already begun. Dew is on the ground. 5 bowling options for India. Big total for England to chase down. Does it even things out, Zaheer? Can India chase this down 2-2?
Well, I think it all depends on the first 6. The first 6 and the big wicket of Jos Buttler. That's going to be the key, because how much he can put bowlers under pressure if he's there, the kind of form he's in. So I think from India's point of view, those first 2 wickets are going to be crucial one. You have to set the tone right. Dew is definitely going to be the factor. So that's something which Virat will have to think hard about, using his 5 bowling options. Maybe getting Washington Sundar early in the attack is not going to be a bad option.
Did I say India? I meant, can England chase it down? Quick word on Zaheer Khan. 180 was the prediction. 185, well within that range. So well done, Zaheer, for getting that right. That's the kind of total India wanted. Michael, 186, yes or no?
Yeah, I think they will. The Dew will play a big factor. The 5 bowling options, I think India will need a 6. They haven't got it, and England have got so much power. Me as a cricket fan, I hope India win, because I want the 5th game to be the decider. But I just think England may have a bit too much power to chase this down.
Well, at least we know there are runs on the board. And yes, a neutral wouldn't mind a 2-2 going into a cracking 5th game. And finally, someone breaking that entire trend of win toss, win match. What's going to happen? Well, 10th over will be very crucial to see how hard England have gone at that point in time. We'll see you on Cricbuzz Combox. And of course, wrap it all up sometime, hopefully before midnight on Cricbuzz Live.